This is like a storage area, but when you come down this way, you turn this around, you see the little stream and the sun, and I think I see a duck. You know, I love the ducks. I love ducks. And you know, this fulfills my need because I was always like, oh, if I ever owned land, I'd want to have a duck and a duck pond. But I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? You'd have to make sure it was a well stocked little stream. You don't need that when you have a walking trail with ducks, with wild ducks. They're just so much more fun, honestly. I know some people don't like ducks, but I'm like, whatever. The ducks are not for you. They're for us who love them. And we love ducks. So let's watch the ducks. Some duck watching on a Friday night. I mean, I could watch ducks for hours. They're just so wonderful. I'm just trying to get a good view of the ducks. Ducks are just great. I love them so much. They're so much fun. I love how they dip their little snouts or their little bills in the water. So, per usual, I haven't had time to make edited videos lately, although I am loving the iPhone 15 Pro. Highly recommend iPhone 15 Pro for filming, making videos, whatnots. I do have like a zoom camera because I bought one last year, but you know, sad story about it is the lens got broke, so I need to replace the lens. And I only had used it a couple times, but this is my whole thought process behind that is eventually I will replace the lens, but for now I've been enjoying making little videos and film on the iPhone 15 Pro. It's good enough. It's actually a really great camera. The camera on this phone is par excellence. I guess this storage facility goes pretty far back because there's this wall right here. And yeah, I want to talk about like walking for transportation and strolling. I love it. So there's no rush. Like if you decide to like be a pedestrian just walking home, it's not a contest. There's no rush. Actually, did you know sustained walking is really, really good for you? Like to sustain walking, like not to push yourself. Like you can bring point yourself in other ways. No, definitely not. You can bring point yourself in many different ways, but there's something to be said about a sustained 3-mile walk home. It's just amazing. Like walking for transportation benefits. No gasoline. You don't have to spend money on gasoline. No car payment. Amazing. You got to see different views. A lot of people are like, oh, but I want to like be in a car. Good, be in a car. But personally, I don't think cars are necessary. And I enjoy walking. So I walk different ways. Sometimes I do walk through the city sidewalks, but I like walking. Like if your city has walking trails, highly recommend them. So I know some people think like the only way they're going to get exercise is if they join a gym or if they have to run, but strolling is actually really good for you and it's very beneficial, and it's about like sustaining movement and being active throughout the day, because that's what's really worked for me over the years. Like I feel no need to do like certain kinds of exercises, like the way, well, you need cars, but I don't need to drive. So I think you're not listening to me, Jeremy. If you listen to what other people say sometimes, maybe you can see another viewpoint. Nobody said you can't drive. This live stream's for people that are interested in like different ways of thinking. And when you're ready, you can open your mind to that. But apparently some people, like Jeremy, that kind of highlights the thing. Like a lot of people are just not open-minded about the whole walking thing. Like they don't get like why people want to walk and they don't want to drive. A lot of people don't drive. And in fact, In Europe, they have such good public transportation and walking. They have a walking culture. They have a biking culture. It's just part of their culture. And like their life balance is a little bit better than the US. It just is. Like I know like the US is like we're number one in this and that, but are we really though? It has nothing to do with size. It has to do with, are you good at infrastructure? Because there are a lot of people in California that are pro infrastructure, pro public transportation, pro driverless car, pro walking. So once again, Jeremy, you're not being open-minded to like the way of the future. Like you can drive as much as you want. Nobody's keeping you from that. But you're holding yourself back a bit. Just saying. Like, so you have to kind of just laugh at people that say things like that. I'm like, well, then go drive your car. Like, go spend all your money on gasoline. I don't want to do that. And, you know, I think life is much better when you don't have to, you know, spend all your time doing things like that. When you walk for transportation, you save a lot of money. Because think about it, how much is gasoline right now? $4 a gallon? So, like, you could plan out your route. Like, you don't have to drive a car to and from work. You can walk. Like, you can plan. You just pull up Google Maps in the morning and you're like, I need to get up 2 hours earlier to walk to work and walk home. And I've done that all my life. And not only in California, in many places, Jeremy, you're just not thinking. Use your mind. Get more. Do better. Our little Jeremy is not doing better. He's the one that we need to help along. Yeah, you're not doing better. We're sorry. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. Yeah, and we don't really care, Jeremy, because you're not our friend. And you can go be silly willy-nilly bear. Like, go watch a car video if you're so enamored with cars. You know? What is this? It's a live stream where I'm walking and talking. You clicked on the video. You didn't read the title? Anyway, the sunset is so beautiful. Look at that. It is so pretty. I'm looking for more ducks. I think most of the ducks were earlier up the trail. I don't see as many down here tonight. Like, my favorite thing when I'm walking on this trail is duck spotting. There's probably a scientific term for it. I'll have to look it up. But I've just always liked ducks. I'm starting to become more enamored with learning more about ducks. But I don't see as many down here tonight. It might be because I was noticing, because this is kind of an irrigated stream, the water is a little bit more shallow down here. And I noticed the water was deeper up there. So it seems like the ducks were hanging up there more tonight. Whereas last week, I remember specifically when I was walking on this part of the trail that the water was a little bit deeper. And it looks like it kind of was, like it went away. I'm not sure exactly like how they irrigate this trail. Like a lot of this is irrigation water from agriculture. Some of it's from the mountains. When it rains, it is like a storm drain though. So sunset is so beautiful. I love to paint sunsets. That's like one of my favorite things to do when I finally get around to doing it. Speaking of which, I think we should just spend our time doing things that we enjoy and that we like. Like last night I had, yes. Why do we pay that? Because that's what they charge. Like, obviously, like, okay, if you live in Southern California, that is what they charge. Like, we have a higher cost of living for everything in the state. When you have more people, it's called the law of supply and demand. So they charge more for everything. They charge more for housing, for food, for gasoline. Like, if you wouldn't live in a less populous state, there's not as much demand for certain resources. So yes, but also it has to do with regulation as well, because other states don't always regulate their air as much. Like, I know Texas doesn't really care as much about air quality as California. And I'm not saying that all regulations are the best, but sometimes a lot of it has to do with regulation. It has to do with the law supply and demand. There's a myriad of reasons, but I kind of detect a little bit of California hatred in that comment, especially, yeah, I detect a little bit of it. Like, a lot of people don't like California for some reason, and that's kind of their own impediment, because like out here in California, it's beautiful. Like in January, we're enjoying the weather. Like it snows up in the mountains and we do get rain down here, but we're not like, we don't spend our time like thinking about other states. So I don't know, like why, like it's kind of weird that anybody would be worried about like vilifying another state or another country. Like why though? Like that's a little bit of a negativity issue I think that some people need to deal with, because if you're truly happy with yourself, you don't feed too much into like demagogues or political ideologues who pit people against each other. Like you kind of are looking. See, that's another thing. Once again, you have a bit of a negativity in your mindset. California doesn't impose anything. California has the strongest economy out of all the other U.S. states. We pay the most taxpayer dollars. We're carrying you other states, like you little states, because we're so populous. Our taxes carry other states. Like federal tax dollars that we pay help other people in other states. So I detect a little bit of a negativity there. So I don't get what that's about. But once again, you could go watch videos of people that just spout what you think is the best. Because for me, I'm not gonna care too much. Like, I don't even care what state you live in, and I don't spend my time worrying about what people in other states or other countries are doing unless it's like a good or a positive thing. Like, I guess I just have had enough of that in my life. I really have. I've had enough of like following political demagogues, being overly invested in people that are really wanting to just have like a rage baity debate. There's no need. That's not what my channel's about. Like, I'm not into rage bait. I'm just looking at nature, and that's it. So what else was I gonna say? I am loving the new shoes I got from the TikTok shop there. Similar to the Skechers. I think the Skechers might be a little bit better though, because I've been testing them, because I felt like, okay, I showed these blue shoes the other day. I don't know if I posted a video on this channel. I might have posted it on my other channel, actually. I think I posted it here. I felt like those shoes, they went up in price. I think they're about $20 now, but when I bought them, I ended up getting a deal that they were about $11. And they're about as good as these Skechers that I found at Burlington on sale for about $38. And I bought versions of Skechers at Ross for like $38, $32, because I'm not gonna spend $80 on Skechers or the Hokas or other shoes. But I think those shoes I got off the TikTok shop, they're about as good as these Skechers. They're maybe the cushioning's not quite as good, but I would say they're very, very similar. So yeah, those are just my favorite kind of shoes. Like, I used to like the Converse or the Converse dupes, but I realized that they kind of always gave me foot pain a little bit. And then like in 2019, my sister's like, why do you wear Converse? And like, why do you wear the Converse dupes? Like, she goes, those just seem like they don't have very good cushioning. So like, she encouraged me to buy a pair of Skechers, which I had never worn Skechers for years. Like, I just had always bought the canvas shoes at Target, or then I started buying Converse because I thought they were kind of cute. But when I realized like Converse are a lot of money, I started buying like the Converse dupes on Amazon. And actually, one fun art project I did was I took fabric markers and I colored, like, I created this palm tree design on a pair of like the Converse dupes, And they were really beautiful little shoes. I still have those actually, but I don't really wear them as much anymore. Reason being is because I was starting to notice that the Converse and the Converse dupes just kind of give me foot pain. However, when I wear the Skechers shoes and then the Skechers dupe, I don't get foot pain with these shoes. Like, they're very comfy. They're very I like they have like the stretch canvas material to them because they just stretch with your feet. So I have a pair that has like the shoelaces in them, but you don't need it. And honestly, I kind of prefer not having shoelaces on my shoes. Like, I know some of them have the decorative shoelaces, but I think what I'm going to do is I either want to go to Walmart or on Amazon, because I think it might be more pricey on Amazon. I want to look for the tieless laces, because even these shoes right here, they have like the decorative laces, but I'm just not a fan of them. Like, I like the ones that just have like maybe laces that you could tighten it up with, or just decorative ones, but ones where you can tie it off and you don't have to worry about like retying your shoe, because I find that super annoying. Like, I don't like want to have to retie my shoe at all. I know some people don't care, but usually my shoes will remain tied for like 12 hours, but I just always seem to have luck where I'll end up stepping on like a lace and it comes undone. And you know, honestly, I know some people are like, oh, that could never happen. Well, it did happen to me once on a bike when I used to ride a bike, and I was wearing Converse. I was riding my bike to work one day, and my laces got wrapped around the pedal, and I fell off the bike, and I was like panicking because I had to undo the lace like really fast, and I fell pretty hard. So that was like about 10 years ago, honestly. I just prefer walking more these days. Bike riding is great, but I just prefer walking just because I kind of got over owning a bike and having to make sure that the inner tube tire didn't get popped, because we have like a lot of different kinds of weeds here in Southern California, and it just seems like I'd always ride over one and it would pop the inner tube, and I just got annoyed with that. So I just really love walking, honestly. It's my preference. The sunset's so beautiful. I have to show you guys. It's really, really pretty. Love it. I wonder, am I still zoomed in? Maybe that's why, because it just seems so zoomed in. But I just love how orange it is. And then you can see the view, the San Bernardino Mountains over there. It's like more pinky, but over here it's orange. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, anyway, so I'm just really loving like Skechers, and I do like these TikTok shoes that are kind of like a dupe for the Skechers. Like, you can find ones that are, you know, honestly, like the best place that I just get shoes these days. And I don't know, it might not be as easy anymore, but a few years ago it was really a lot easier even. It's just like at Burlington and Ross, because they don't have tons of like a certain shoe, but they'll have a few here and there, like of Skechers, or just like maybe an off-brand that's similar to Skechers. Nobody's following me. It is definitely a walking trail, and there's nobody back here. You're so funny. There might have been somebody back there, but it's a walking trail, so there's people walking on it. Yeah, so anyhow, sunsets really just so amazes me. I feel like on camera it reads more orange, but now it's looking a little pink and orange. I don't think it reads as well though. Like, interesting. I love the silhouettes of the trees. Like, that's one of my favorite things to paint when I finally get around to painting, is silhouettes of trees at sunset. I love that. I really love that. So I highly, like, if you're looking for a new shoe that you just feel like isn't too expensive and is comfortable, I like the Skechers. But on the TikTok shop, I thought the Skechers dupes were pretty good too. Like, I know they don't call those shoes the Skechers dupes, but to me, they kind of look like Skechers. The only thing I think I kind of like a little bit more about Skechers is the Skechers are a little bit more light and compact, and those TikTok shop shoes, they're a little bit more bulky, and they're still very stretchy though. They almost have like the sock material, and I'll have to wear them again tomorrow because I haven't worn them for a few days. But when I take turns wearing either these or the Skechers shoes, they feel pretty equally the same. Like, I feel like the cushioning, although because I walk so much, I know some people probably think this is extreme, but usually I'll need to replace a pair of shoes, I feel like, after 3 or 4 months, because I'll just feel like the cushioning's kind of worn out after that. And I know some people think like they can go 3 years, or they want to wait in it forever until there's a hole in the bottom of their shoe, and I'm just not about that anymore, just because, yeah, if you walk a lot, you need to replace your shoes more often. You just do. I know some people are like, oh, no, you don't. But personally, yeah. Because I feel like after 3 or 4 months, if you do a lot of walking, like these type of shoes, you definitely need to replace them more often. But they're still cheaper just to buy a pair every few months. And I do have one pair of Skechers shoes, a purple pair that I've been wearing on and off for 2 years, but that's because I don't wear that pair as much, and I usually just wear them with like purple outfits. Whereas like I like to have one monochromatic color, like the black ones that I wear with many different kinds of outfits, and those ones usually I end up, I don't know, I just feel like the cushioning is not as good after a few months in my opinion. So I like this part of the walking trail because there's like benches and there's like picnic tables. It's a cool thought. Unfortunately, sometimes there's like activity here where people are camping here, and I get it. Like sometimes people are homeless, but it just makes it to where it's not as ideal to want to maybe picnic here. I don't know. It would be fun, but yeah, it's just an unfortunate part of that. But the sunsets is really beautiful for sure. I'm really enjoying it. You can see Mount Baldy over there. Definitely really pretty. Yeah, so there's different plants, or people call them weeds. Like there's the gypsum weed, a lot of it. And I remember my mom told me something that people do with gypsum weed. I'll have to look that up or ask her about it again later. But anyway, it does tend to grow wild here in Southern California. Is it indigenous? I think it might be. I'll have to look that up again. But yeah, more sunset views. There's like this church over here and these palm trees. It's just really beautiful. Look at that. Love the views at sunset. There's something so, like, I love the sunrise. I love the early morning sunrise. And then there's something very restorative about the sunset. I feel like when you're outside and you're watching the sunset, I mean, now that daylight savings time is about coming to an end, like it just feels very restorative. I just think like visually watching the sunset just gets you ready for the evening. Like it just kind of resets your internal clock in a way, or that's the way I kind of think about it. So every time I walk on this trail and I get to enjoy the sunset, I really just appreciate it so much, because I'm like, it's such an amazing view. I love the view. I just really enjoy being out in semi-nature. It's still nature, it's just not like the middle of the forest. You know, there are places you can go up in the mountains in the middle of the forest, but then again, you might see bears. Of course, I have seen coyotes. I saw a coyote on this trail the other day. I saw a coyote in a field. I kind of didn't walk down this trail the other day when I saw the coyote, but I thought, I suppose it's okay. I mean, I don't think they're gonna attack me. It's a coyote. but I just kind of watch just to make sure that there's a coyote. Yeah, I'm to the part of the trail where I'm almost at the end. You can hear? This is such wide open spaces. I can hear the freeway. I can hear both trains. Like there's a freight train over to the south, and then there's the passenger train to the north. But our passenger train is cool, but it's just a short connector train. Still haven't rode it yet just because it doesn't really stop near my house. And I just need to make the effort to ride it, honestly. That would be fun. I would really enjoy that. And yeah, definitely I see now why there weren't as many ducks farther down the trail, because the water seems to have been deeper higher up on the trail today, and that was the reason why. Lots of nighttime birds. They seem to come out more at night because the temperature is dropping a little bit, but for October, it's still pretty warm. Not cold at all. Almost the end of the trail. This is like a sensor light, I think. Sometimes I see it pop on, but then it just like pops off like the minute you're walking by, which is funny. It's not a very good sensor light. Not really sure if they meant for it to be a sensor light for the walking trail. Well, if it is, it's just not doing the best job. Like there's one, but yeah, the walking trail, like you kind of have to adapt your vision to nighttime, and I do that all the time anyway. Like if you walk in the dark, your vision will adapt without a flashlight. And that's just something I learned how to do as a child, and when I was an adult living in the mountains. I mean, I know people think that they need flashlights, but you don't need one. It takes a little bit of time for your eyes to adapt. I mean, you can't see everything in the dark, but your eyes will adapt to where you will be able to decipher certain things in the dark. Like even though there are street lights here, like there aren't as many on the walking trail. I notice when I walk on this trail, my eyes definitely adapt to the light. Anyway, yeah. I'm almost to the end of the trail, and I hope you have a good night.